It's a good day to be an investor. We got Mimi, Timothy, and Harry here, and myself. Don't forget Nestor Mendoza. Today's episode is going to be an interesting one. We're sitting at all-time highs, and people are freaking out. I am freaking out a little bit. You know what I mean? I'm in this sort of panicky mode. I don't like where the market's sitting at right now because before it was cheap, but now it's getting a little bit too expensive for my liking. We have a couple of differing opinions in this podcast, and that's the beauty of this. This is a discussion. This is not financial advice. Do what your heart tells you to do and do your own research because we're not your financial advisors, but you can always check out our portfolios in the links below. So make sure you click and see what companies we like, what investments we like, because we are doing the same for everybody and we're sharing that with the community. So feel free to click on those links. But today's episode is going to be an interesting one because we're going to be talking about earnings season starting. Google had earnings yesterday. It blew it out of the water. Tesla actually continues to have awful earnings. And it continues to somewhat be choppy, which is an interesting perspective. We have a couple of data points that we want to share with you guys on Tesla. We have the crypto markets. Timothy and Mimi are going to give us an insight on that, whether you should be panicking and selling all your bags or should you be packing more. And last but not least, what else are we talking about? The trade deals for Trump, I guess we're going to be talking about at the end.
We always
Meme
talk about
stocks.
Trump. So.
We're going to talk a little bit about Trump, a little bit. He's coming to Scotland, which is fantastic.
You said he's coming on the podcast.
No. Yeah. Well, he. Well, if he wants the votes, you know what I mean. If he wants the votes, it's got to be a place.
We'll have JD Vance in the Cotswolds and Trump in Scotland. So we've got all of America's elite in the UK.
But yes. Whoa.
Okay.
Oh, there he's gone.
He will be back.
And he's back.
Again?
We're just... I was going to tell Timothy to take over.
If you don't want to see us, Nestor, just say it.
I'm panicking. I'm out. But okay, so market sitting at all-time highs right now with the S&P 500 sitting at $6,398. The Nasdaq is sitting at $23,366. Markets at our all-time highs. It's a little bit tricky because something I want to take into consideration and for people in the community to maybe explore a little bit is the fact that we've seen all-time highs, but not in relation. If we were to take the euro valuation and the GDP valuation, we are actually not sitting at all-time highs. So the dollar devaluation has had a lot to do with this rally that we've seen in asset classes. As the dollar goes down in value, assets go up in price. It's an inverse relationship. So it's very, very interesting. Google had earnings yesterday and they beat on all metrics. People were thinking that search was going to die. And in fact, it beat surprisingly to the upside. And this was fantastic news for Google. That's why we're seeing the stock up today almost 3.8%. And we're potentially seeing that stock breaking the 200 level today. We are also seeing Bitcoin touch all-time highs at 121K. Mimi, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but we are sort of retracing back a little bit. A minor correction in the whole crypto story, but the market seems to be freaking out. Something we'll be touching on. We have corporate earnings full steam ahead. We had already the banks, which showed amazing results. We are getting a little bit of tech this week. We had Tesla, not so good, but that's okay. It's part of the process. Elon will save us, according to every single Tesla investor. Feels more like a cult than an actual investment, but that's just my opinion. Shout at me in the comments. Give me that engagement, please and thank you. And last but not least is the consumer is a little bit hurt. Auto delinquencies in the United States are starting to pump up a little bit, which is a very interesting metric to pay attention to because in America, you sell your house, your wife, and everything around you before you sell your car because you needed to go to work. So very, very interesting. But again, going back to the reality of it, what are you guys seeing in the markets? Timothy?
Yeah, what I'm seeing yesterday was Google reporting earnings, beating on every line. So revenue, net income, growing even their search, which is surprising. And now we're really seeing the capabilities of AI because they commented that it's due to the AI intelligence that the search is improving. So people were actually scared that Google would have less search, but instead it's growing. Why were they scared? Because yeah, ChatGPT, you have all the chat AIs taking over, making people believe that we would use Google Chrome much less, but it's not the case. So the Google narrative remains strong, and it's the reason why it's around 7% of my portfolio, because I really think it's one of the biggest players within that AI space. I think every one of us has Google in his portfolio. I'm not sure about you, Harry.
No, not at the minute, but I am envious of you guys having it.
I called it. I called it.
I have to close something. I have to close something to buy it, and I just I'm. It is of
probably Tesla.
The sort of the top FANG stocks. It's the one. But usually I try and ignore those stocks because I kind of trust my investors to already be invested in the S&P 500, the copiers. But I do occasionally, like, what everyone's watching them. Google is without doubt the best value of all of them, because you get the driverless car aspect, but also search is an incredible business still. It's not dead. And I mean, I'm not really that surprised that it's growing, because the only job that AI has currently would have taken out is copywriting, and that industry is currently growing as a result of AI existing. What's happening is all the copywriters are now just doing more work than ever, thanks to AI being there. Yeah. And so the one industry AI could have eliminated, all this fear, I think, is way overhyped with AI destroying jobs. The growth of jobs will precede the jobs it eliminates, I think, is what we're currently seeing. And so I think copywriting is the only job that could have been eliminated.
You have to also learn to use it. If you don't learn to use it, they're not going to hire you, or I don't know.
But the learning curve is quick.
Very quick.
Yeah, but it's important. It's important to take into consideration. It's not that you're going to lose your job to AI. It's that you're going to lose your job to somebody that knows how to use it, right? Because it's productivity increase, right? Like you're going from 1x to 10x by using all of these different tools, and it's just the small little things, the quirks of your day that just take you away. Writing an email becomes a second task instead of becoming something major, right? So as we start seeing these tools kind of take over, we see the whole, like we just see productivity increase, and we're seeing that with Google, like the way that they're using search and ad revenue, they're using their tools within the company in order to improve those things. But again, like you said, Harry, it's super interesting to see Google take advantage of like Google is a chips play. Google is a
but
like
last year I paid 4K. Nestor, last year I paid 4K to make a website. Today I make this in 1 hour with AI.
Yeah,
look how clean it looks.
Crazy.
I mean, you can just build anything you want within a click. That's done with Cloud Code, which is a competitor to ChatGPT. But yeah, just to say how quick you can learn and build tools on top of it.
Yeah, and the most important thing is just like we have to evolve. This is the thing, that we could sit back and complain about how technology is taking over jobs or whatever it is and be really scared. But the thing is, in the history of humankind, it's all about evolution. It's about evolving and upskilling. So this is the next step up. Like, to really get ahead, it's just to work smarter and to merge with AI, use AI, rather than be fearful that AI is going to take over the human race. You know.
What about Mimi? What about you? I know that you've been super active on Etoro, so I want to hear your perspective on what's going on in the markets today.
Yes. So in the markets today, I mean, like really quickly, is that the crypto market is correcting, and I think that sent everyone in a bit of a panic, because again, I always go back to the psychological aspect, right? And it's just a vicious cycle. And most people won't survive in the crypto space, unfortunately. And I always say that in crypto is a hard way to make an easy living. And when you think about it, you are your worst enemy when you're investing and trading in crypto. You can have the best entries, you can have whatever it is, you can have the TAs, all that, but at the end of the day, it's all about whether you can hold through the volatility, you hold through the fear. And right now, because of what we went through the past week, where euphoria started to tick up, and even with Google Trends, like Google searches were ticking up about like which altcoins to buy, everyone's still expecting that when we're in that moment that things are going to just completely rally until for infinity, right? And I always say, like, we need to stay grounded. We must stay grounded. What's happening now is very normal. The market needs to cool off. You have some altcoins that have, had more than 100% gains in a week. That's insane. Like that is just can't be sustained. And so one message I want to say is, like, right now it is correcting. How long will it go for? I don't know. But for me personally, not financial advice, but I dip my toes in a little bit when there's a dip. That's no pun intended. But I just laughed at my own joke. But in terms of whether I will make one last purchase and it'll be hefty, I'll probably wait until August, because looking at the charts, looking at the catalysts, looking at what's unfolded, I do see a little bit more of a pullback. I'm eyeing Bitcoin, even though I'm not investing a lot in Bitcoin. I do watch Bitcoin's price action and Bitcoin dominance and all of those other indicators to tell me where our altcoin's going to go. So Bitcoin alone, it's made that 120K. It might try for it again, but there's a lot of resistance there. I could see it going probably down to 114,000, or even retest the previous all-time high around 110,000. That's still very normal and very healthy. And so when that happens, and it could take a few weeks to play out, possibly, I will start scaling everything else that I have, all the cash that I have reserved, into altcoins. And that probably will be August, but we're already kind of finishing July anyway. So that's my take on crypto right now.
Timothy, I see you drawing and focus. What's going on here? I see
No,
you.
I'm just helping Mimi to visualize
Okay.
Bitcoin's price, but I was also watching
Yes.
the Bitcoin dominance chart. So what's your take on dominance, Mimi?
Okay, so it obviously found a lot of support around 60%, right? So dominance, I wasn't surprised that it was coming back up. There's a lot of fear that, and there shouldn't be though, but there is fear that it could come back up to the 64%, 65% levels. But the thing is, if it does that, I mean, I don't want it to, but because that means that altcoins will bleed. But if it does that, it would mean better opportunity to buy, better prices, right? When last week and when everyone was worried that they missed the pump, I'm saying now the opportunity is coming. It could possibly be the last opportunity before alt season to just buy the alts that you want, the good ones. But I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin dominance starts to tick back up. I don't think it will reach 64, 65% again, but it's just going to be a little bit scary for people because altcoins would just underperform against Bitcoin. What do you think?
Yeah, my take is also that Bitcoin dominance has stopped, especially because I believe Ethereum versus Bitcoin has reversed. So let me pull up the Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart. So you can see that it's in a nice uptrend already, making higher highs, making also higher lows, which is indicative of a trend reversal above the 200 moving average. Also, we do have some resistance overhead, so it wouldn't be like in one straight line. And look at where it came from. I mean, there's a lot to work for to get all the way to the top, but it will be a slow trend higher now that the Bitcoin dominance is stopped, in my opinion. What I'm not convinced about is that altcoins will outperform Ethereum in the short term. So probably in that mania phase, we will see most altcoins outperform Ethereum. But if you just look at most altcoin pairs against Ethereum, you will see that they are still in a downtrend against Ethereum. And then it comes down again to the fact that you want to take as less risk as possible. So in the beginning, of the year, I was saying to buy Bitcoin because we saw Bitcoin dominance trend higher. If you were holding altcoins, they might have gone up also, but not as high as Bitcoin. And now we're seeing something changing. We're seeing Ethereum outperform Bitcoin, and also outperforming Bitcoin in a way, but not Ethereum. So I would say some balance between Ethereum and Bitcoin is always healthy for your portfolio. And then later, if we go to the end of this year, that's how typically every cycle works, is where altcoins start to pick up and outperform Bitcoin and Ethereum. But the fact that Ethereum is now really getting more attention means that we're not early in this cycle anymore. So I want to say, like, be careful with some stops in place in case the market dumps, because overnight the altcoin you're holding might be dropping 40-50%. It's perfectly possible. We have seen it in the last cycle. So you have to protect your capital, and especially don't rotate all of your gains you've made so far into some speculative altcoin, because otherwise you risk of just losing years of gains and then have to work all the way back to the top again. So just my cautious tone here.
My only thing I would add to this is my experience is volatility. Over the last few years, we've experienced a lot of bearish volatility, which has actually been quite good for us. And it's been a bearish volatility that's nudged us upwards. But even so, Bitcoin is double the all-time highs of 2021, and if you ignore the downward volatility, being double where we were in 2021 is not, for one of the most exciting things I think on the market, is not that extreme. And also from 2020, that 2021 level of $60,000 that went down and then back up again, it got to 60,000 from 10,000 within a year. So the upwards volatility on these things can be very, very extreme. And once you get up to those levels, once we got up to 60,000, we didn't get back down to 10,000. And that's where that's where you get the FOMO. That's where those people that go, oh, we're probably not going, like, once it jumps to 60,000, you realize 10,000 is unlikely, extremely unlikely. And we actually went back down to 15,000. So that's where like how much volatility there is in there, but you don't know when your last chance to get in at 10,000 will be. You don't know when your last chance to get in 100,000 will be. If you don't need the money in 5 years' time, it will not be shocking if Bitcoin is 6 times where it is now, because that is what it has done before. And there's people, me personally, I just buy £50 a month on Coinbase, and on my Etoro account, I have it there as something that is a protection against inflation. But it's something that a lot of people will buy and then just sit on. And over time, these patient people that just top up how much they have, whales, they can't afford to just offload it and onload it. So they are just buying this and holding it in their account. And so the supply that's going to be on the market is going to be shrinking all the time from these people that don't want to be. I mean, the biggest issue for billionaires for a long time has been finding this sort of gold-like stable asset that they can keep, not in a huge bank vault, but on a USB stick, and be able to move their money from Australia to Argentina whenever they like. And they're terrified of holding money in fiat currency because of how quickly it depreciates. So they buy things like
Harry, let me stop you.
bonds.
Let me stop you there.
Yeah.
Right quickly, because I want to touch on something. Now that I have you on, and I wanted to continue talking, but I'm going to pivot a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. I was about to start mumbling anyway.
Yeah. So tell me, why right now we're going into the second part of the show, which is just like what's on your desk. So I want to know what asset you're paying attention to right now. What's the last analysis you've done, why you've done it, and why you're paying attention. Keep it sweet and tight, and just like share as much knowledge as you can for the audience. I'm going to do that and make sure you each will have one right now.
Yeah.
So Harry,
Okay.
you can go first, or I can go first if you want.
I don't mind. One quick one is United Health. United Healthcare is on my desk. Price to earnings ratio of 10. Bunch of lawsuits last year. that caused it to drop 50% in price. But the really steady earnings growth. It's a solid S&P 500 company, and yeah, really good margins, net profit margins, operating margins. All the financials about the business are really, really solid. And as well as insider buying is the highest. Like you could take all the insider buying from the last 10 years. It wouldn't come close to how much insider buying is happening this year. So that the people inside the company are incredibly confident on it, and it's a solid compounder, and it's not even had a real earnings dip. It's had revenue growth, but a slight net income dip over the last year with all the lawsuits. The only hesitation for me is I like to buy companies that I can see firsthand. So, for example, I can use Google search. So that would make Google more attractive to me than a healthcare company that I.
So the question is, when you're buying Google.
Well, maybe soon. Maybe
today. Okay, because I'm looking at UNH, and I think do we all hold UNH? I don't know if Timothy does,
Yes.
but Mimi, I
Yeah.
think
I
you
bought
bought
it.
some.
Yes.
Yeah, because
I did
because right now it's looking appealing, right? Like Dimitris is the one that like sort of like swords and shields this stock, and it's been a really outperformer for the longest time. And like I agree with you, there was just so many negative news on top of each other that the company got massively hurt, and then we're
50%
expecting
discount is absurd.
Yeah, so we're expecting in the next 5 days, we're expecting earnings, and if they continue to perform in their earnings as they've been, I think they beat expectations last time, and then we potentially could see but the time before they didn't. So it would be interesting to see how they're actually managing with the tariff news and everything around it, and the changes to Medicaid and all that stuff. But this earnings season is going to be a very appealing one. I might try to get Dimitris on this, like maybe do a live stream on this stock, because it's like if all of us have it. It would be interesting. Okay.
It's definitely on my desk.
Okay. Well. I'll put something on your desk. Have a look at Google. I've been shouting out of the rooftops for everybody to buy Google. It's my second biggest position, but I don't know. I like the stock, right? It's I agree with you, and it's something that it's an online company, but I can touch it. You know what I mean? I can actually use their products, so it's been kind of good, and I just love the innovation that's going on there. But UNACE is also something I'm buying as well, so pay attention to it, everybody. That's one for sure. Yo, Timothy, what you got?
So we had a lot of news lately about memes getting launched on Bonk. So Bonk is basically a meme coin, one of the first meme coins on Solana, actually. And they also launched their own, let's say, pump fund project where you can just launch your own coin. And we're seeing a lot of money flowing from pump fund into Bonk. And that's really what you've seen here, this price action. And like I said, some of these altcoins like Solana, I think will probably reverse back to the upside because it recently hit like $200, which is great. It's in a nice weekly uptrend again, making high highs, higher lows. So I would say Bonk is like a beta play to Solana if you want to get more risk, of course, and not going in a in a downtrend like most altcoins is going sideways, as you can see, and maybe aiming for that high again. I would say let's measure it 70% upside, so not bad for a position in Bonk, which has some real fundamentals going on. And it could mean, that people are going to speculate again on meme coins. So if you believe people will continue gambling, Bonk will be the best play for that for now.
Okay. Nice.
I mean, the key word is gambling, so it's very risky. Okay, very, very risky. I have to emphasize that because it's not financial advice, and shilling meme coins is something that we try not to do. Yeah.
Use it as inspiration.
But I do like Bonk. I do like Bonk.
Well, last time you mentioned something, it went crazy, Mimi.
Pengu,
right?
Pengu.
Yeah, going nuts.
It went insane. Like when I spoke about it, it was at 1.3 cents, and now it's at 4 cents. Oh my God, that's my phone. Sorry.
Let me show.
Pengu. Pengu went it went crazy, and you know what? I didn't actually take on my own advice at the time. I didn't buy it when I mentioned it because I was like, I needed to go down more. Then it just skyrocketed. But a few members in the core community are banking, so I'm really, really happy for them.
Proud.
I'm really proud. I'm proud.
That's so
really,
good.
really proud.
That's so good. Well, that's the reason we do this, right? It's for us to have a discussion and then people to do their own research and they understand the risk tolerance and make your own decisions. Don't just follow us
Yeah.
because we're some random people on the internet and we all look amazing. That's all, you know, it's
Yeah.
the reality. But okay,
Yeah.
Mimi, what's on your desk right now? Because
My
we
desk-
like I
my
think I
desk-
think your audience wants to know.
My desk, there's still risk there, but there's a lot of upside. So I wanted to mention two tokens, ENA, ENA, and also Tel, which is Telcoin. Now, Telcoin is in summary, the first crypto bank that's been approved this year in February. It is essentially connects people connects with like telecommunication networks so that people can send crypto to each other over mobile phones. It acts very similar to Stellar XLM, where it helps the unbanked be able to access funds. So it's really gaining a lot of traction, and it has a lot of affiliation with like stablecoins. So it's part of the stablecoin narrative. ENA as well is also part of the stablecoin narrative, and it has its own stablecoin, which is USDE. And so those two, there's risk there. Of course, they're not as established as, the blue chips, but because of, the Genius Act and, everything surrounding stablecoins right now, particularly the Genius Act being signed off and approved, it's ones that I've already started to invest in Tel, and I'm looking into ENA still, but there's a lot of talk about those two, especially ENA.
What I want to add is like every coin we're seeing right now is at some crucial support level. So you have ENA, but I was going through my watch list. All of them are basically at some important levels where now is actually the time to step in and be a buyer. You don't want to be the buyer like here when everyone is talking about it, but you want to wait when there's a dip. And that's what we're seeing right now. Now, I'm not saying like it's gonna bounce from here, but that's why we have risk in place and just a lot of cash to continue buying if it dips lower. But I think right now is like a good place for most of these coins to be buying because they're dipping into some kind of support level. So definitely interesting times.
Yeah,
Nice.
for sure.
Okay, I'll tell you what I've got, and I mentioned this stock when it was sitting at $14, and like I'm still sort of very bullish on it. They have earnings coming up on July 31st, so next week, and actually they're gonna have earnings. They're gonna have earnings the day we do the next live stream. So this is gonna be very, very interesting.
Is it Google?
There's a couple of I know they just had earnings. They just had earnings, Harry, today.
Is
No,
it
Yeah, I
Nvidia?
know.
Yeah. I mean, I like Google. I like Google. It's my second biggest position. I don't, and the thing is just like, I don't have this position on Etoro because I think it's way too risky. But it reminds me of the meme that you remember, the meme stock era where GameStop, AMC exploded because of short squeezes, right? There's an opportunity here, and I think somebody somewhere made a mistake, and it could be me. That's the problem, and that's the reason I'm not going on Etoro, but I'm going on my personal accounts just with the money that I'm willing to like risk with all of my Google gains. You know what I mean?
What's the ticker?
So the ticker is RKT, right? And I'll share this. I'll share the screen here, right? And this is an interesting company because it has to do with mortgages, right? But funny enough, the reason I like the stock is because it seems somebody made a mistake, and some of this data is outdated. So take this with a kilo of salt. I need to get my kilo of salt back for times like this. But the stock is like behaving quite nicely. But if you look at volume has spiked right here, right? And why has it spiked? It's because right now 50% of the company is shorted. So the short float is 50%. And institutions own 103% of this company, which blows my mind. So right now, you need really big hitters to sell the stock at prices that they believe to be good prices or expensive prices, because institutions tend to hold for a long time unless they're looking for a quick in and out trade. So there are some broken numbers here that tell me that this could be a very interesting opportunity. We're about 5 days from getting out of all of the position based on the current float. So it's interesting, you know. It's like right now we broke the 16. We tested a little bit of resistance. We're testing back down. If we maintain 16, this could reach 20 in the next couple of weeks. And earnings season coming along, interest rates potentially coming down in the near future. This stock is poised to do extremely well. Again, this is an extremely high risk trade. This is what's on my desk and I'm paying attention to, and I have options trades on this. So take this, like, I'm willing to take the risk. You have to be willing to take the risk here, but this is an interesting trade. I enter at 14, so I'm already in profit.
Gross margin is 97.65%.
It is, because they're a mortgage provider, right? So they just connect you, right? They connect you to somebody that's willing to give you the mortgage, and that's it. You know, it's like, it's super simple. The enterprise value is 54. Market cap sitting at 33. The forward PE is sitting at 22, right? Like, if they continue, but they had really bad time for a while, right? So if we look at the earnings, like, they missed a couple of times and it just got ugly around the end of 2024. But we found the floor, we're finding some interest, and now right now Wall Street Bets is on the case. So this is something that's very interesting.
This is one that is extremely volatile to interest rates.
Yes, it is. It should be. It should be, because obviously, like, the less the interest rates, the more people are buying houses, the more people are asking for loans. So it is very rate sensitive, but at the same time, right now, the momentum that we're seeing is not because of rate interest, because you can see the volume while we were dropping was minimal. And then all of a sudden, we're seeing massive volume enter the stock because people are just not selling, right? So this earnings could be a catalyst for this stock to even touch 20 or even higher, just because of the short squeeze potential that it has. 50% of the stock is shorted, and the float is insane. It's insane. The short interest has only increased since May, 44, 41, 47, 52. And the question would be, like, what happens to the numbers as the new data starts coming out, right? Again, we're delayed with this data. It's a little bit more difficult to kind of predict. I think we're 5 days. And it's like right now we've had 3 days of high volume, but I think it's Wall Street Bets kind of picking this up and then starting to say, because we are starting to see companies like, what was the other one we were talking about? The one you mentioned, Mimi, the other day, which was, oh, you mentioned it today. I don't remember it. It went up 500%.
No, that was me. Wait.
Not me. Yeah. Likely.
Open Door.
Open Door, right? So we're starting to see short squeeze potential here. Kind of like companies starting to find this very, very interesting. Like, some people got cut out. Some people are stuck on shorts right now, and there's a fight going on. And I have December expiring options at 14. So this is going to be a fun ride. Yes.
Interesting.
All right.
I'll add this to my list.
Yeah, it's high. It's like, I would say, like, this is like meme stock rally. You know what I mean? So this is like altcoin material kind of thing. It's just, I think somebody got caught out and they're going to have to pay a lot of money to get out of this. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm in it. Nice. Right now I'm in profit. I'm happy. I enter at 14. I bought some long-term options on it just to see what it could do. It's an interesting play. Even diversification if the company starts doing well in earnings, but it's going to be very, very, very intriguing to see what's happening with this stock next week. We're going to make sure to cover it for you all. By the way, do any of you, we're in the deep end right now. So this is, we try to keep it a little bit short here, but does anybody know anything about nat gas? Because I know that natural gas right now is sitting at, like, it's not super high right now, but it's come up a little bit today. The problem is like with commodities, it's hard to predict whether this could just be like seasonality or anything. But I mean, it seems to be coming off of a resistance right now. So sorry, of a support. That's what I can tell you about nat gas right now, Block. So that was a question that was asked in the chat. If anybody has any questions in the chat for any of us, feel free to ask them. We're more than happy to convene and try to tell you. And if you ask it in the comments below, I'll make sure that the answer. So
I think the thing with nat gas is, I mean, find with those, I mean, they have no price to earnings. As the price goes up, the incentive for all these other providers to produce more goes up. So that's what can bring the price down quite quickly. And then geopolitically, you have to really understand geopolitics. So where you've still got Germany buying natural gas, I believe, from Russia, despite being at war with them. And all of those, it's just incredibly intricate as to how you price it. How you work out the value of it and where it's going to be going in the future. So that's where I mean, I started off investing 10 years ago in oil. And that's why I moved towards stocks over time, just because when predictability goes up, so do profits, because you can actually start seeing a month, a year, 5 years into the future.
We have a viewer saying, for me, it's making me quick crypto. Seems like a casino. Cryptocurrencies, or at least right now. And the thing is just like there is an element of like, you know, like depending on what sort of project you go in, there is, like Mimi said, there is a gambling sense of it,
Yeah.
you know, because many people are thinking we're going to 100x, 200x, when the reality is stock market is expected to give you a 10% return year on year. You know, so it's like whenever you can get 100% return, there is risk. There has to be somewhere.
Yeah. But the,
You know?
the
And
other
also,
thing
like
to take
a
into
casino is a casino, and that's a very profitable thing. So what you've got to do is just own the casino, not be on the tables.
Exactly.
But you have to take into consideration that there are so many altcoins out there. There's so many tokens that they're created and they die in like a split second. So of course that it does have that gambling casino type you know, aspect of it. But the thing is, like, one thing that I wanted to quickly note is that now that we have all these bills either approved or in motion, so we've got the Genius Act already approved, and then we have the Clarity Act and the Anti-CBDC Act in motion. What it tells us is that crypto is here to stay. The sector is there's validity there. It's being recognized by institutions, and I don't think people really grasp the impact of that. Like everyone's just watching price action every single day, which is not healthy. Don't do that. But everyone's just like every one day in crypto is like a whole month, and it just feels like everyone's just so focused on price up or down. We've got to focus on the bigger picture and what's really happening here, and just zoom out and just understand that it is being written in law now that crypto is here to stay. You just need to figure out which projects to invest in and which to follow. And at the end of the day, look at strength, look at history, look at usage case and key narratives. That's it.
Yeah. No, it's true.
The interesting thing is, I think it looks less like a casino today than it did 10 years ago.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Way less.
You know, like if you're going into the top projects, the likelihood is we're not gonna see major moves, right? So it's like but obviously if you're going into sorry, Harry, go.
There was a question before COVID whether governments were even going to allow Bitcoin. That question has now been thrown out the window.
Yeah, definitely.
Yo, one thing we haven't talked about, the tariffs. So we got Trump getting Europe and Japan to fall in line with 15% tariffs overall. I think the tariffs go up to 16% all throughout, at least in Japan. This is an interesting one because the market didn't react like I was hoping it would react whenever we got the big nations to come up to a deal. Any thoughts on this?
I think the market is ignoring the tariffs news. They're sick of it. They're focused on something else, like interest rates, seeing what's happening on earnings. So investors are a bit, used to, and also they don't like to hear tariffs anymore. Maybe if there's like big bad news, but 15%, okay, let's continue negotiating with the rest. Go on. Next.
Yeah, priced in. I think the markets have already priced in. So
Yeah, is it true? I mean, we're sitting at all-time highs, and we are, and believe it or not, my expectations was 10% throughout, right? Like to even allies, right? So I was like 10%, okay, like it would hurt, but 15% is a little bit higher than I initially thought, like a lot higher. I would say a lot higher because this is unprecedented here, right? So now we're going to start seeing if they maintain, because one of the problems that I see, at least with the Trump deals, is that it's all frameworks and kind of discussions. Is that it's called a big celebration, but the reality is we're not getting anything fully sort of set, right? It's the same. Oh, we got a China deal, but we didn't, right? We got a framework to work based on that, and we're going to continue talks because trade deals take forever to come into effect, right? But Trump seems to be celebrating these things as major wins. So now we just seem to not believe Trump at all, and we're just going to pay attention to earnings. That's what companies should do. But again, it's going to be an interesting.
I think watching his actions rather than his words has always been
true
the strategy amongst most people.
Yeah.
Because he says whatever he needs to say in any conversation.
Fair. Yeah, no, it's the truth. It's the truth. It does feel that he's doing, like, I don't know. I think he's trading markets, but again, that's a rabbit hole I don't want to get into
that's
right
true.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question is, how much has every president before that also been doing it?
Yeah. No, they have for sure. You know what I mean? If Nancy Pelosi's making bank, the president won't. Oh no, the president is humble and trustworthy. Sure. You have to be so honest in order to get to those positions. You know, that's the reality, right?
Yeah, he keeps delaying when the trade stuff kicks in, so it's hard to know with it constantly shifting. It seems like classic. Just I went to buy a sofa, and there's a website, and there's a sale on, and the sale ends at the end of this month. And if you wait until next month, what you'll realize is there's a sale on that month as well, and it's going to end at the end of the month. And I can tell you what will happen if you go visit the website a month later.
Oh man. All right. Anything else you guys want to chat about? Anything else you guys want to chat about? We're in deep in at this point, so it's like whatever you guys.
There was a question, and it's quite an insightful question as well. So for you guys to also answer, it's Daniel on Etoro asked, since Bitcoin largely dictates the market direction of most altcoins, do you think there will ever come a time when Bitcoin is considered overvalued, even if dominance remains intact? So if dominance is still high, will there be at any point Bitcoin will be considered overvalued?
I don't think Bitcoin's going to be overvalued until it's the world reserve currency.
Okay.
Once it's that point, then it will be Bitcoin will underperform everything else because Bitcoin won't be producing value. It will just be like gold, and everything else will become a lot more stable in relation to Bitcoin. If you compare Bitcoin prices to the S&P 500, that actually levels out the S&P 500. It becomes a more stable asset against Bitcoin. And what you're actually doing is removing the volatility of the US dollar. And so what we'll see, I think Bitcoin is undervalued until it's the world reserve currency. Then it becomes a boring asset, which is what the end goal is for Bitcoin to be boring.
Yeah, exactly. And stable. And stable is boring to people. So I think that's a really great question. And so I do agree as well, because at the end, right now, the way Bitcoin is valued right now is two key areas. One is scarcity. So it's scarce. It's only 21 million, therefore it's valuable. The other thing also is a store of value as well. So therefore it is valuable. But at the end of the day, value is really, it's objective and subjective. And so is everything that is scarce in this world valuable? No. Some things are, some things are not. Some things die out. It gets replaced. Is Bitcoin going to be a store of value forever? Is there something else that will come up? Possibly yes, because when there was no Bitcoin, there's gold and other things where it's a store of value, and then Bitcoin came along. So my answer to that is yes, it will be overvalued at some point. And then also, what is value? Value is also usage and also yield. Like Bitcoin doesn't give you yield. It doesn't give you anything aside from what we just spoke about. And then the usage cases of other altcoins and other projects and other ecosystems, at some point, they're going to be highly, highly valuable. So the answer, yeah, to my answer to Daniel's, yes, at some point, I think possibly it would be.
Okay. But it would take a long time, right? Like I
A
think
long time.
yeah. What's the market cap of gold right now sitting at what, 14 trillion? And Bitcoin is sitting
I
at
don't
what,
know.
2?
About there, yeah. Just
Right.
about
So it's
there.
like there's still time. There's still a lot
Isn't
of
it
time.
much more with gold? Gold's like a lot
14
more.
trillion. I think a gold market
yeah.
cap.
What I would also think about Bitcoin is everyone that gets
23. Sorry. 23. My bad.
gold's at
23.
23 trillion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're
Well,
still
I think
10x.
Insane.
anyone that buys a
Insane.
meme coin buys, $1 of 5 different meme coins and $1 of Bitcoin. And most portfolios contain some ETH, some XRP, some Solano, but then also Bitcoin. It would be weird for someone to have 5 cryptos and one of them not be Bitcoin. So what I think,
Mimi.
Bitcoin in particular, as people buy into all the others, they will add Bitcoin as well at the same time.
Yes.
And that's why I think Bitcoin for me is the Coca-Cola of crypto. And right now
Yeah.
it's as if you are buying Coca-Cola in the 1980s.
Yes. Interesting.
Which Mr. Warren will tell you that would have been a good investment.
Yeah, even and it was already the world's biggest sugary drink, but then it was still have been a good investment.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it. Anything else you want to add, Timothy, Mimi, Harry? You got 25 people watching. Anything else you want to say?
Really quickly, I forgot to mention that there's a Bitwise. It's called the Bitwise 10 crypto ETF, recently approved by the SEC. Allows you. It's like the first multi-asset crypto spot ETF ever. It's got 10 cryptos. Off the top of my head, I wish I could. Ethereum, Ripple, just the majors: Ethereum, Ripple, Sui, Cardano, AVAX, Link,
Litecoin.
Um,
BNB.
Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Solana, Cardano, Sui, Litecoin, yes. Dot, so Polkadot, Link, and AVAX. All my favorites.
Did it get approved?
I don't really have to.
It
got approved.
Okay.
It's major. It's major.
Okay. That's massive. Yeah. Like any sort of like tool that you can use in order to put to like tax-free savings accounts or IRAs or ISAs is like, I don't know if we could do it in ISA because the UK government takes forever to
well, if you're in the UK and you're under 35, then you definitely go on Hargreaves Lansdown and open a tax-free lifetime ISA. As particularly if you don't own a house, you can use that to save for a house. You get 25% government bonus. But also, if you're a UK millionaire, what I recommend is that you just leave the country because they're talking about behind the
wealth
scenes.
tax. We're not talking UK politics because I don't have time. Harry. I don't have time. I gotta go.
Don't worry about wealth tax. They're talking about upping capital gains.
I know. This is an episode we gotta do for sure. We're gonna get it in the books for sure, Harry. Because I definitely have 2 cents to say. It's like, yeah, you're gonna tax me. Okay, bye. Bye. I'm just gonna leave. Bye.
Some of us like it here, but that's the problem.
Well, you can come visit. Buy a private plane and come every other day. You know what I mean? Like at that point, it's like you're gonna charge me how much to live here? Yeah, that's not worth it. You know what I mean? If you're, it's like my house. It's my landlord says, oh yeah, you gotta pay 10 times more. It's like, okay, bye. I'll go to a new house. Bye. Okay, thanks so much, everybody, for watching. I appreciate you all. Don't forget to check out our portfolios. I got to add Harry's. Harry, we're going to do that UK tax stuff episode soon because I definitely want to talk about that.
Sounds good.
Our portfolios are down below. Make sure you check them out. Keep us honest. Our investments are there. It's not financial advice. It's your money, so make sure you do your own research. Peace out, everybody. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for next week's episode. And we're going to be doing live streams on the earnings. So make sure to comment which earnings you want us to do because I'm going to covering a few. So, all right. Peace, everybody.
Bye-bye. Oh.
Wait, Harry left?
Harry's left. Oh, he left because...
Why did he leave?